it ruined these teeth. Evidently in my sleep, I do this.
Do the grind
it's
sound?
stronger than the teeth below.
Okay.
When sprayed all the little kids today with the fire truck.
Yeah. Wow.
Over at Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
It was my daughter's class. See them all having fun.
Aw.
I bet kids get really excited when they are around a fire truck.
Yeah.
You let them on and everything, don't you?
Yeah, today I didn't because they were soaking wet when they. I just sprayed them with the front, like doing a water day for them. And so it was just like a big squirt gun. Yeah, for the most part, they're either like super fascinated and excited or they're scared.
Yeah.
There's usually nobody in between.
I could picture that.
Interesting video that MSA put on. That Kim sent out.
Oh, yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. Did a very, very good job. What surprised me is all the building and everything that's going on in that small, relatively small
Wanakee.
town.
And
Yep.
Oh, in Sun Prairie.
Sun Prairie.
I haven't had a chance to watch the webinar, but I'm familiar with Sun Prairie. And that is such a cool community. I mean, it's they have an emergency room like ours, that's not associated with the hospital. It's right off of 151 when you're going up there.
Yeah.
If you take 151, you just drive right through there and you can see all the growth. And
I bet you they had, well, I didn't count them, but there must have been 5 major projects that they've completed in that small town.
I need to watch that. I've been meaning to do
Yeah,
that.
it's really a good watch. It really is.
yeah, they had Sun Prairie had 22% growth and Wanakee had 18% growth according to the census in the last 10 years.
And
Population.
the neat thing they did, I think, is they had land that went unused, undeveloped for up to 15 years. And they started looking at zoning laws and realized that they were too restrictive. And so they did the research, talked to developers, and loosened them, not to the point that it would be detrimental, but to the point that they get interested developers. And it worked.
No, it is 5:30 officially. We'll give a couple minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
I was hoping for what? I got 2 more that I'm hoping. Was Kevin coming?
Kevin, and then
To me, that's a slam dunk. Like,
Wait till you hear their story.
here, this is what I was looking for. That's the reasoning behind.
Mm-hmm. Enumerated.
Enumerated.
Enumerated. Seems like it should be spelled there. Oh fuck! I'll mess it up.
Fast.
Yeah, I think so.
You're not in charge. I am. Welcome everybody to Hiawatha regular council meeting, Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Jerry Moinkle,
Here.
Amy Wickendall,
Here.
Rob Archibald,
Here.
Dick Olson,
Here.
Steve Dotson.
Here.
Approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens input. Anybody in the audience that would like to approach the mic and talk about anything other than what's on the agenda tonight would be welcome to come on up. Anybody? 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 Last call. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's citizens input. If anybody would like to approach the mic and talk about anything that's not on the agenda tonight, you're welcome to. If not, we will continue. Okay, reports from council members. Kim, myself, I got nothing.
Nothing here. Nothing here.
Nothing.
I attended the planning and zoning meeting, and there was a discussion between the citizens of Northwood Drive and KDR Management, and that's on the agenda tonight. Some other resolutions that came before the board was a final approval for Dell Ridge 5th edition, and then a motion to amend the areas where sales of fireworks will be permitted, and that's on our agenda as well. A motion to approve the rezoning of a CPR3 to better align with the village center, and a little bit of the description is daycare, hospitals, business service contracts, and contractors, et cetera.
Perfect. Excellent. Anybody? Kim?
I do have just a couple of things. Staff is working on putting together just a simple event to celebrate a derecho anniversary. And when I say celebrate, it's more about celebrating the work that has been done and completed. And so we're working at putting that together. Like I said, it'll just be something simple that we'll have at the park. Hoping we can get that everyone in line and scheduled. We'd like a couple people to come and speak as far as a business owner and someone that lives in the community that can just kind of explain their experience with those that participate, and also to celebrate our city staff for all the work that they've done. Excellent job in getting debris moved out of the way in quick fashion all the way down to stump removal. We're just finishing up on that. And I think people are very pleased with that as well. And then I also wanted just to take a minute, if you remember, a few months ago, Pat and I talked about the possibility. We talked about Edgewood Road, our northern points of Edgewood Road, and that potential of does the city and initiate the rezoning process out there. And I have to say, with the Tower Terrace interchange and the expansion of that, along with the DOT's project with the interchange really becoming reality, that will be let actually in the next week or so, 2 weeks. Yeah, August 17th. So that is progress. And with that being said, there's a lot of activity out there along Edgewood Road, especially the ag land and its future development. So it's actually will take care of the rezoning for us. So it's not something that we'll have to engage in alone. So I think that is something worth mentioning as well.
Absolutely.
Kim, you mentioned something about department heads, and it reminded me of reading the Cindy's memo.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth publicly stating what a great job the department heads did. Our fiscal year ended June 30th, and they stayed within, 77% of the budget.
Yeah, 76%.
And that's
Especially with,
public sector having budgets. I can
Yep.
tell you, I've never been that good.
No. Hmm.
Kudos to the staff.
Thank you.
all right. Anything else? All right, we'll move right on into business. Public hearing to consider a request from KDR Management LLC and rezoning auditor's plot 275, Lot 7 in Lynn County, Iowa, from R1 to R5, amending the zoning district map as specified in Chapter 165, Section 165.17. We'll open the public hearing at 5:37. And have we received anything in the mail?
Yes, we have.
There's a couple letters, okay. And anybody would like to approach the mic and speak in opposition of this event? Come on up. Just state your name and your address and
Hi, my name is Jason Dodd. I reside at 120 Northwood Drive. And for me and my wife and our 2 kids, our concern is rezoning this as a rental property. Of course, we're against it. And reason being is I have no problem with rental properties or development of Hiawatha. What I do have a problem with is, that's a nice residential neighborhood. We move there for the people that live there and, just to not be surrounded by renters. I mean, we want a nice, single family dwelling neighborhood, and that's what we'd like to keep it. So I guess my big opposition is, being a developer. I'm not against them at all. It's just what happens long-term to that property. Typically long-term, I'm a locksmith by trade, so I see what happens long-term to rental properties. Once the money's made, then the first thing that goes is maintenance. Once maintenance goes down, then whatever income level that's set at, that also goes down. And the rent goes down, and then you get undesirable renters. And that's what we want to keep out of the neighborhood. So that's my piece. Thanks.
thank you. Come on up.
I'm Roger Miller. I live at 117 Northwood Drive, and I'm totally opposed to this rezoning. I've lived there for over 50 years now. So it's been I'm sorry. Okay, congratulations, by the way. I'm definitely opposed to it. I've lived there most of my life. It's been a single family dwellings up down the street. I watched them put in Nixon School down there. I watched them put in all the rental properties. And since the rental properties went in, it's been downhill. We put up a lot of yelling and screaming and gunshots, fireworks after 10. So I think you can understand why we feel the way we do about the rental properties. And like I say, it's always been a single family, and that's how it should be. And we like it where we're at. I don't know what else to say except to just, we're happy there the way it is right now. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roger.
Very much, Roger.
Hi, my name is Lynn Schroth, and I'm not fond of public speaking. So I live at 110 Northwood Drive, which is right next door to the lot that you're talking about. And like the gentleman before me said, this is a beautiful single family housing area. We moved there about 37 years ago, and that's what brought us to the neighborhood, was that it was so nice to raise children. And now I'm looking at retiring there. The apartments behind us have been a problem from the day they put them in. It's the trash that's constantly flowing on our backyard. It's the police calls, it's the noises. And I'm just worried about them putting a duplex in next door. I know they say they're going to do, really vet their renters, but legally, can they do that? I mean, if they can make the rental payment, can they really vet what kind of people are renting in there? I'm worried about the increased trash and the noise. And I just think it smacks of, if you rezone this one lot now, what's to say in a couple of years down the road, another lot's up for sale and they want to rezone it to something other than residential. They could come back and say, hey, you did it for this lot. Why can't you do it for us? It's a nice family neighborhood, and I think we should keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
Try to make it back. So apparently I'm going to be the ugly duckling in this whole thing. So I will just say that I'm kind of
State your
somewhat-
name and
John Doctorman.
and the address.
The address is 118 Northwood. Sorry.
There you go.
I'm not so much opposed to it. I think it'll add value to oh, thank you. I think it'll add somewhat value to the property. And not that I personally know these people, but I do know vaguely one of them. He does do nice work, lives in a nice place. I think it'll be a beautiful place. And that's just my opinion. And I agree with some of the things that you guys are saying. It's a single family dwelling. I get that, but it will bring up the property value. They're going to have security cameras because I vaguely have talked to them. I mean, I don't think it's such a bad deal. I agree with the apartments behind you. It is a problem. There's been people that have came through the back, and I'm actually thinking about putting up a barbed wire fence back there to stop what's going on. But I don't oppose it. I think it'll bring up the property value and it'll make the neighborhood look nice. So I don't oppose it. I am actually kind of somewhat for it, but I agree with what you said. Sometimes if you let something go, where does it stop? I understand your point. And that's why I think everybody should have a voice to be heard on that block. So that's all I have
Perfect.
to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, how
Mayor
about the
Bennett.
developers?
Mayor Bennett, before you move on to Kayla, we did receive one additional letter.
Letter?
Which was,
Perfect.
and I'll just have
Yeah,
Carrie talk about it.
we received one from Kenneth Funk in opposition of the rezoning.
And that was in your packet.
Yep.
That letter
Okay.
was in your packet.
Okay. All right. In favor of it, do you the developers want to talk?
No.
Yeah, come on up.
I am Carla Pearson with KDR Management. My partner Dan Griffin, he's the D, I'm the K. I think I might have failed to explain who we are, because to be compared as a slum landlord, I try not to take that personally. I just took it as an opportunity to maybe explain our plan better and say a little bit more who we are. I too have lived in Lynn County for almost 50 years next month. And I understand how real estate changes. I'm removing my rose-colored glasses and looking at this purely as facts. Things decline over time. I love the neighborhood. It struck us when we saw an ad in the Facebook and it said, vacant lot, perfect place for a duplex. We jumped on it, made an offer contingent upon it being approved for a duplex. No problem. This place is full of rental properties. I looked at the assessor's office and I could see multiple lots owned by the same people or same entities. I'm like, okay, check, check, check. Yes, it's in a residential area, which I love because that's what my tenants are going to look for. So We dropped the contingency. We bought the lot. We're super excited. And we get this little obstacle, but I'm sure that once they see what we're trying to do, and you compare that to the statistics that's in your 2036 comprehensive plan about mixed dwellings, and the statistics show the most high population is women in their 40s and 50s. Like myself, we don't like to mow and shovel and all of that. So two of in our duplex right now, that's perfect for them. They're widowed and single, and they dwell together in a duplex, and they're two people in a duplex. So I get a little frazzled, that it's grouped in a slum landlord thing. I did not know until the last meeting that the area we picked has violence, and perhaps I was wearing rose-colored glasses at that time. I've removed them. I see it. I agree with the gentleman. The first thing we're going to do is put a big wall if we can, what the city allows. And, Dan has worked over 20 years with Flynn Homes. I don't know if you know Mike Flynn, but quality developments in homes. And he's a perfectionist. And I've worked for the dental field for 27 years, and we're here to stay. We care about it deeply. I have the national trend considers duplex as low density. Like I said, our duplexes now have two old ladies, if you will, just like me. And the one's been there 10 years, the other one's been 3, and they both signed 2-year leases. So we don't see that turnover that is kind of acquainted with rental properties. But again, that whole area, when you look at the assessor site, multiple renters. I'm sorry if they're not registered. I'm trying to do it the right way, and we're registered. The main thing, put all the details aside, what we picture, and if you can put the picture up on the screen, Pat, to retain the character of the neighborhood, we propose putting a cottage, like, the entrance is from the street. We plan to have parking in the back. We actually will have a driveway. I know most of the driveways on Northwood are just rock. We want to make it look really nice. I mentioned I left all my notes at home, but basically it's a mixed dwelling. It states that in the comp plan. It's perfectly in alignment with that, and I hope you consider. I hear what they're saying, and I echo that I will not. I want to maintain that. I want to enhance it, to be quite honest, if that makes any sense. And if Dan Griffin wants to come up and speak, if there's any other questions, he is my partner.
I've got a question.
Yes, please.
You were speaking of upkeep and so forth. Typically, the first thing that goes, you're not mowing the lawn and you're not weeding and so forth. You're going to take care of those things, including snow removal and that?
Thank you for bringing that up. So we are hard workers, and Dan not only is a full-time electrician and all that for Flynn Homes, he also owns and operates his own business, which is Audio Video Technologies. And he does security cameras and movie theaters. Little plug if you need anything like that. But in the wintertime, he actually owns his own snow blowing company too. So I don't know if you've driven by the lot lately, but we have that hired out. It is pristine. It's for a vacant lot. It's probably the prettiest lot around. It's clean already, and we're not even there. So to answer your question, he actually I get to help snowplow, don't I? I do the snow blowing. I get my steps and exercise. But yes, that's what we do.
No.
Probably more so than the average Joe.
Okay.
Good to know.
But he can't take any more accounts. Just kidding. For snow blowing. Just kidding. The picture here is a perfect diagram. It's self-explanatory. Okay.
Question.
Yes,
So
please.
is this the proposed duplex that you're going to build, or is this the duplex you're going to build, or?
This is what we propose. We'd like to do something like this that meets the requirements, face the street, make it look, to retain the character of the neighborhood. If you want to flip back, it's kind of cottage-like. 'Cause
Right, and then the parking is in
the
the,
area, what's that?
Both garages are in the rear. then,
Yes.
Correct.
Yep, yep. And it's a narrow, but it's a deep lot.
Right.
So we anticipate then having the garages because, like I said, it's nice to have your own private parking. So it shouldn't be an issue with parking a street or something crazy like that.
Anything else, Pat?
I would just like to clarify a couple of things that were brought up tonight that weren't clear in the memo. The first being that this property or this area could be entirely rental. There's no law against any rentals in any of our residential zones. The second issue that was brought up was a mention about if we change this, where does it stop? The slippery slope is a concern, but in this particular case, it will most likely retain its residential nature simply because we've already got that designated in our comprehensive plan. It is very, very unlikely that it would become commercial. Whether it will ever become medium density or high density, that would remain to be seen, but it is in the comprehensive plan as low density.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody?
Yeah, I'd just like to take a few minutes, Bill.
Yep.
Are they done? As far
No, he had one more question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Roger.
It- Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're kind of like offset.
Yeah. Yeah. See the.
So the front picture did show both entrances. Correct. All right.
It's difficult to see it also, but it is a two-story.
Yeah, I saw that. All right. I didn't see the other.
And I'm glad you guys brought these photos because it gives us more of an idea what's actually going to be built. You know, which, you know. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, Bill,
Yeah, go ahead.
looked at this pretty strongly actually over the weekend and did some research, and there's no question that Hiawatha has a need to fill the gap between supply and demand of housing, particularly affordable housing, and did some research around the country with what other cities are doing. And one of the ways to bridge that gap is through upzoning changes for designated housing opportunity areas. And we, of course, are doing this with the Village Center and the Robbins Road revitalization area. And I think we've done a really good job, and that's represented in the comprehensive plan. But in researching it, what I found is that upzoning should be considered for land areas, not lots. And what we're looking at here today is a lot rezoning. And the land area upzoning gives you an opportunity. It becomes a catalyst for growth in that area, obviously, and offers transitional housing opportunities, which this particular rezoning request does not, without creating a disruptive density issue in well-established neighborhoods. And I agree with Pat. I read his memo that the rezoning request really does not represent spot rezoning. But in the research that I did, it definitely represents a lot rezoning. And I think personally, P&Z made the right call in rejecting the rezoning. In addition, I don't believe that we should consider approving zoning of a single lot that doesn't represent a catalyst for future growth. That's my opinion. That would also include transitional opportunities that will not encroach on contiguous properties. I'm very impressed with the duplex that you guys are planning, because I went over there a couple of times over the weekend, and basically this duplex is going to be right in the middle of Northwood Drive, 5 lots in and between the Schroth property, and I'm not sure who owns that other property. Pardon? Okay. But I don't think approving a single lot upzoning is consistent with what we want to do in terms of our smart growth comprehensive plan. And again, that's just my opinion.
I've got some questions for you, Dick. I was at the planning and zoning meeting and didn't see the plan, which I'm impressed with. And I didn't hear that you were going to take care of the property and the renters wouldn't have to do that. So there'd be no downgrading. There are then also afterwards, I learned there's already rental properties on that block.
There are.
So I'm not seeing the real difference between this duplex, which smart design, looks like a single family dwelling, but it accommodates 2 separate residences. I don't see how that really degrades from the neighborhood.
And
the point there is, it's just taking a single lot and doing an upzoning rezone. And Pat brought it up, and that's what I also read. It becomes a slippery slope. If we go from, what are we looking at, R1 to R5? Where else do we go in that neighborhood? And I think we need to look at the fact that somebody said they've been there for 50 years. This is a neighborhood. It's definitely a neighborhood. And I think we should maintain the integrity of that neighborhood. But that's just one point. The real point is, do we as a city, as a council, as a staff, want to get involved in single lot upzoning? That's really the question.
I think when it gets down to it, I mean, when you talk about rentals assistance, one of the things that's been a larger trend in this country over the last year, especially with the housing market, is hedge fund managers buying up R1 single family dwellings and then basically renting them out for the highest possibility price. Like as was mentioned, there's nothing that states that anybody can't do that. So I want to say that having a rental property there, I don't think makes a difference compared to what could be done. I think that the hedge fund buying out things like that, that's your real threat. At the end of the day, we have to look at it objectively. Is there anything that violates our comprehensive plan? Is there anything that violates the zoning laws? Anything that violates the city, state, or any federal laws like that? And at the end of the day, they own it. They want to develop it. I say, let's let them develop it, because I think if you say no to development, then you also get other developers who look at this elsewhere in the city and be like, well, is the city going to approve this now? And we could, by trying to err on the side of one property, chill our necessary homeowning growth in other parts of the city as well. So unless the proposed development violates anything from federal, state, local code, or our own design codes or the comprehensive plan, I say we approve it.
I've got a question. What part of R5 is a slippery slope?
Let me clarify that, because it seems to be coming back. What I was saying is, it is not a slippery slope,
Okay.
simply because R5 is still considered low density residential.
Right.
So I was arguing that it won't ever go to commercial, and it won't ever go beyond low density residential unless our comprehensive plan changes. The other thing that was also mentioned here is this lot has been vacant since 2008. So it does need, I mean, from an economic standpoint and economic development, it's starting to be a point where maybe it's not for one family dwelling. I don't know the answer to that.
Right. Is it also part of the 500-year floodplain?
There is a floodplain in the area. This particular lot, we have a floodplain map. And so it does go through there. This particular lot is not in the 100-year floodplain,
It's in the 500.
but it is in the 500. And we do develop in the 500-year floodplain.
Did it flood in 2008?
I wasn't here. It did flood? Okay.
About 3/4 of the way up.
Okay.
If I can address one thing you said just for information, one of the reasons the lot has been empty for so long is the original owner, Kevin, was waiting for his daughter to get a down payment so they could build a house.
Okay.
And they recently decided to buy a friend's house instead, and that's why the lot went up for sale.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I speak for a sec? I actually was at B&Z, and I have property, I have the 3 lots next to the filling station by the fourplexes that some of us are not excited about. And I looked at this project as being a positive because anything that goes up new over there is definitely going to be taken care of at a rate that is a lot more attractive to us than what we got going on over there on some of the other properties. And it's, was my idea to some of the other property owners as they age, that maybe this might give them an increase in property value that, depending on what we, our health and stuff, where we end up being, that this might make a better quality of life for them also. And so I personally was excited about it. And with the 36, what we've been working on for 2036, it fits the criteria.
Yeah, I think this fits well with what we envision for Robbins Road. When you drive around town and you look at the rental duplexes around town, they are well maintained. And there is quite a few of them when you drive around town. So, and they blend in with the single family homes that they are next to. The other thing is rental properties are all over. I mean, I live in a single family neighborhood and we have rental properties in our neighborhood as well. And there's not maintenance issues. There is on the apartments over there. I don't disagree with that. But I think this fits well with our vision for that area.
Okay, anything else? Yep.
Just taking out of page 3.3, the housing,
Ayla, can I have you
it
go?
says housing goal 1. Encourage a mix of quality housing alternatives, including apartments, townhomes, and condos that are affordable and attractive to a variety of income levels. That's goal number 1, is to encourage a mix, a blend. Like I said, I didn't know that duplexes were considered, multi-family. I thought that was considered, or nationally, it is considered a level 1 or what you call it. But that's the housing goal number 1.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Bennett, I would just want to add just one other thing. One of the things when we were talking about inclusion, diversity, and equity, which we all have heard much about in the last year and a half or so, this also is going to affect and have preference in our zoning areas as well. I attended a managers conference a couple weeks ago, and we spent 3 hours with the National Municipal Managers group that talked specifically about zoning, and how really what they're taking a look at now is that the only zoning that we would have any control over would be industrial. That commercial, residential of any kind really would not have zoning requirements. This is going to certainly be a slow process, and it's one of those things that it's going to be hard to get our head wrapped around. But when you talk about gap Dick, as you mentioned, gap housing, how you want to infill your areas, because that's more economic, also more economic for the city as well because of infrastructure cost. So those are wrapped around all of these discussions of equity, inclusion, and diversity as well. And then we just recently, Pat and I sat and listened to a webinar that talks about healthy neighborhoods. And within that, and I know some of you have watched it as well, healthy neighborhoods really talk about the mix, all of the mix, outside of industrial, of course, but certainly talks about the mix of what a healthy neighborhood looks like. And it is price points, it is diversity, social economics, it mixes it all together. So it's going to be a very interesting process. This is not going to be the first time, and this is not going to be the last time that we're going to have these conversations on what zoning looks like and how one type of zoning transitions into another type of zoning. So it will be a very interesting conversation going forward.
It'll be interesting.
Kim, I agree with all that. And that's everything that I learned over the weekend too. And these changes are coming. There's no question about it, because in order to take care of the housing gap, the upzoning is going to have to take place. What I'm specifically addressing is this one single lot that is before us tonight. And that's what my comments are relevant to, not the broad brushstroke of what we're going to be doing and what's going to be done across the country.
Okay, if we're done, we'll close the public hearing at 6:08. A, consider first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Do roll call.
Oh, roll call. I'm sorry.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Nay.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
B, consider waiving second and third reading.
So moved.
Second. You can have it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Consider adoption.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Nay.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Okay, Hiawatha Code of Ordinance updates. Consider resolution setting a public hearing date, August 18th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. to consider amending Hiawatha Code of Ordinance, Chapter 50, nuisance abatement, consider 50.02 nuisance, what's that? Enumerated to add an exception to tall grass and weeds.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? For no rain, them weeds are crazy. I mean, is somebody watering my weeds at my house? Quit it.
The only thing.
Yeah, thanks, John. Okay, roll call.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
B, consider resolution setting a public hearing date, August 18th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. to consider amending Hiawatha Code of Ordinance, Chapter 165, Unified Development Code, 165.23, supplemental yard restrictions, and eliminate the domestic employee exception for habitable accessory structures in residential zones.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
And C, consider resolution setting a public hearing date, August 18th, 2021, 5:30 p.m. to consider amending Hiawatha Code of Ordinance, Chapter 165, Unified Development Code by adding 165.24B, fireworks sales, to limit fireworks sales in I-1 and I-2 zoning districts.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Better call
Good-
those guys. My
good
front
move.
yard's available.
Yeah, that's a great move.
Roll call.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
E, consider resolution setting a public hearing date, August 18th, 2021, 5:30 PM to consider amending Hiawatha Code of Ordinance, Chapter 165 Unified Development Code, Future 1 Land Use Matrix for adding permitted uses and conditional uses in CPR 3 zoning districts and adding fireworks sales reference.
I think we skipped D.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, can we make a motion on this and go back to D? Okay, we'll make a motion on this one then.
Yep.
Second.
Roll call.
Rob Archibald,
Aye.
Dick Olson,
Aye.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle,
Aye.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
And D, consider resolution setting a public hearing date, August 18th, 2021, 5:30 PM to consider amending Hiawatha Code of Ordinance, Chapter 165, Unified Development Code, 165.26, home occupations, allowing beauty salons, barbershops, and limo services at home as home occupations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Might have a few sneaking that in already.
Yeah, it's a good change.
Roll call.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald,
Aye.
Dick Olson,
Aye.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Number 8, consider resolution approving final plot and development agreement with Del Ridge 5th Edition.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Houses are really popping up out there.
Yeah.
God. Where are you finding all the builders, Chris? Roll call.
Dick Olson,
Aye.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle,
Aye.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Number 9, consider resolution approving and directing mayor to sign the Edgewood Road Sanitary Sewer Expansion Reimbursement Agreement with Eagle View Land Development, completing the 2018 Hiawatha Sewer Expansion and Force Main Replacement Project.
So moved.
Be happy to sign that one.
Yeah.
We got a second?
Yeah.
Roll call.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle,
Aye.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald,
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
Number 10, consider resolution approving contract amendment number 1 to the professional service agreement with MSA in contract with the Turtle Creek Park Phase 2 project.
So moved.
Second.
With nothing being out there, they're sure using a lot.
Yeah.
That's what I got to
That's
say.
going to be fantastic when it's done.
Roll call.
Jerry Moinkle,
Aye.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald,
Aye.
Dick Olson,
Aye.
Steve Dodson.
Aye.
Number 11, consider motion approving an order assessing penalty to BP to go 975 in the amount of $300 for its first offense tobacco products violation.
So move.
Second.
Question.
Have
Did they ever respond at all?
No, they did not.
Okay. Thank you.
I even went in there a few times and not a word.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald,
Aye.
Dick Olson,
Aye.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle.
Aye.
Number 12, discussion possible action on the COVID-19 and the Delta. So let's get an update.
Yes.
Where we're at.
So we have added this to the agenda, and I felt it would be prudent for us to have a conversation. If you recall, back in late April, early May, we had made a change to council had made a change to the requirement of citizens and visitors wearing masks in city facilities such as the library and city hall. As far as employees, the mask requirement stayed in place, and we would just adjust depending on what was going on with COVID-19. So with that being said, I'm sure you've probably heard or read in the last week that the Delta variant is one of those spinoffs from COVID that are greatly affecting, and Lynn County is now in the hot zone. And we define that based on a conversation yesterday. We had our Metro meeting with the communities along with Lynn County Public Health, with the reason how we get to the red into that hot zone is by having over 100 positive cases in a population of 100,000 or more. As of yesterday, it was 168. And so because of that, then we're in that hot zone. I'm sorry.
I
go ahead.
believe we're there because of our infection rate is over 10%.
Over 10%.
Cases per 100,000 are like under 10.
Under 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So we're at
either
the-
of those two indicators puts
Yep.
you in the high.
Yes. So that, with that said, then yesterday we were 168 positive cases, with a very high percentage of that being the Delta variant. So with that being said, there is a recommendation through CDC and Lynn County Public Health that mask should be worn by all, whether vaccinated or not vaccinated. Certainly they're hoping that this is a short-lived situation and hopefully doesn't go on as COVID-19 did, but wanted to have this conversation with you as to whether you would consider putting the mask requirement in city facilities back in place.
Now, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not changed the spacing because we've moved offices, we've moved people,
Correct.
we've
kept that
continued that practice.
Yes, we kept
Okay.
the space distancing for employees in place. We've kept the sneeze guards in place. We still have mask and hand sanitization stations in the front as you walk in to the library and here at City Hall. We did take the mask required, the little sticker sign. We did take that down because of the changes that we saw, the positive changes that we saw. But now that we're seeing the Delta variant come through, take its course, I do think that's something that we should probably consider.
Yeah, I think so too, Kim. And of course, everybody's aware that Cedar Rapids has mandated masks in public buildings.
Lynn County as
Do you know
well.
what Marion's position is? Have
They were actually talking about it this week as well.
Yeah.
And it would be a safe assumption that they will do the same.
I would think so.
So I'm for going back to masks. I mean, I'm vaccinated and made it through. Sharing a personal experience, I have a high school friend who's struggling for his life. Doggone it, he chose not to get vaccinated. So I guess my wearing a mask, you don't know who's been vaccinated, who's not. So if we all wear masks, we're going to protect those people. I'm going to call them stupid that didn't get vaccinated.
And I do think the other thing we did talk about I do want to also talk about the positivity that we are seeing with the opportunity to be vaccinated. Because if you look at the cases today versus where we were last year, about the same time, it's 70% less today than we were at that given time.
What's the percentage rate of Lynn County residents that are fully vaccinated now?
67.
Well, it varies.
Yeah.
I think the positive thing is 65 and older, that they basically do have herd immunity. It's the rest of the age groups. And there is certainly that now that children, there's some opportunity there for children to be vaccinated now, which I think is positive. I do not know the rate percentage for the children, up to age 12. I do not know the age percentage, the vaccination percentage for that. But it is a very positive number for those 65 and above. And that's really how this all started.
Sure.
and the importance of being vaccinated as well.
Do we have a sense of what percentage of our employees are fully vaccinated?
We are fortunate here at City Hall, main floor, upper floor, we are about 75%. Library, that I believe all of the library staff are vaccinated 100%. And our fire department is at that about 75, 80% as well.
Kim, what do you have in mind for time frame for mask wearing again?
Yes, I think that's a good question. What they talked about yesterday, they were looking at an 8-week increment.
When would we implement ours then? What are you thinking there?
I think we implement it and we watch, just very similar to what we do with the employees, that we watch where the numbers
But I
where the
mean,
numbers are going.
effective tomorrow,
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
that's really
Yes.
not good.
Yes. Thank you.
Wearing masks here at the council meetings.
Mhm.
I have no problems with it at all.
Right.
I don't either. And I know that from what I've heard and read, that 99% of the people that become infected are not vaccinated.
It's
That
a
means
very
less than
high-
1% that are vaccinated become infected,
It's a very high
whether it's the
percentage.
regular COVID or the Delta variant. I'm in favor of returning back the mask for the city staff though, but
Is there anything else we can do to further incentivize the rest of our staff that isn't vaccinated to get vaccinated?
I think one of the things that we talked about was, certainly again, having the conversation that we did prior in bringing in a pharmacist for those. It really was convenient bringing a pharmacist in to do the vaccinations. It really did increase the percent of our employees that did get vaccinated. Just makes it easier. So I think we really want to see if we could add to that vaccination numbers, if they would be open to if we brought somebody in.
And it's extremely easy. I had someone in my office today that made a call this morning and they're vaccinated this afternoon.
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah,
comment
it's-
on that.
it's
When
extremely
I
easy right
tried
now.
to get vaccinated,
Mm-hmm.
I was registered with 5 different places. Took me forever. Now there's a surplus.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
You can-
happily waiting for the booster shot.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
waiting for an
Correct.
incentive, like a
Yep.
gift card.
Okay. Do we have to put this in a,
If you would
Put
do
it
a
in a
motion,
motion?
yeah, if you could do a motion.
you make a
roll call.
motion? Anybody?
Yeah, make a motion to put a requirement in for masks in city buildings.
Second.
Okay.
Effective tomorrow.
For 8-week increments. to
Effective
reevaluate.
tomorrow. I think that we should
Closely
probably
maintain
bring
it.
this back every
Every
council
meeting.
meeting because
think so
things
too.
could be way
Change.
different. They could be
Yep.
gone by next meeting and
Yep.
we get rid of it. So I would like,
Would be really
One-
awesome.
One could.
Yeah.
That
I'm
would be really
optimistic.
awesome. Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, and roll call.
Steve Dodson,
Aye.
Jerry Moinkle,
Aye.
Amy Wickendall,
Aye.
Rob Archibald,
aye.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
Great. Placement for items for the next meeting are on the agenda. Anything? Anybody got anything? If not,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. What? I
second.
think that's yours.
Oh, I'll second it.
That's your
All in
cue.
favor? We are
Aye.
adjourned at 6:25. Thank you, everybody.
We're at like 56% in one count.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Thank you.
56.8
Greatly
or
appreciate it.
something.
Someone's bag down here? I wonder if it's for the laptop there. Carrie, is this your bag down here under the desk?
Yes.
Okay.
Be more worried about this spot zoning if there were other empty lots.
Well,
And there's not, and that lot sat there forever. It's an eyesore. It's.
that part, seriously, big concern I have.
Thank you.
How this, I went over there and I walked the lot looking at it.
Yeah.